Hey everybody, welcome back to the Purpose Dept Podcast. I'm so excited to have everyone here today. And we're doing something a little bit different today. We have two guests. So, would you like to introduce them?
I would love to introduce them, but how are you doing today, Jay?
Doing great.
It's an early time for us today.
This thing. It is.
I don't know. Didn't get as much sleep last night, but yeah. I mean, as you can see, right next to my right over here, I've got my brother from another mother, the Alex Mancilla, and then he's got his son here, Unique, with us today. How you doing, Unique?
I'm doing great, man. It's an early morning, but I'm excited to be here.
Dude, I loved you texting me. You're like, we're on our way, and I'm like, I love you guys. I'm still moving, but it was so good. Thanks for joining us. These cats came all the way up. I almost said down, up from San Diego.
Oh, it is up from San Diego.
Yeah, so they came all the way up from San Diego to hang with us, and it's truly a privilege. We go way back.
Yes.
Way back to 2017.
Yeah.
When we got to meet for the first time,
Yep.
and I remember. I mean, Jaiden was tiny. He was half his size. Unique, you were around almost the same size as well. And it's just been, you guys are growing up, man.
I know. Yeah, it's been totally different. I would say Jaiden was probably a quarter of his size.
He was 7 or 8.
No, I was like this tall.
Yeah.
But it's been, man, the years, it feels like it just flew by. Like everything just kind of like all the years just kind of flew by.
I mean, like 2020 to like 2023 were kind of like a blur.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that whole COVID like era was definitely a blur.
Yeah. That's what happens when you guys are at home and you're eating all home cooked stuff because you guys all shoot up and grow during that time. So.
Yeah, I get home and then I'm like, where's the food? And it's all gone. You know what I mean? It's like I work all day and it's like, okay, I want to eat now and nothing in the refrigerator. It's all good though.
We were setting up for this episode, right? For those of you who are watching, we were setting up for this episode. I was like, look at this. We got the two young cats on the ends, and then Alex and I, here we are. We're sharing the couch.
Yeah.
And we're sharing a camera, and it was like, it's okay. And we're letting the two young guns who look good.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's been it's actually pretty cool to be sitting here today with our kids and just doing this, and see what they have to say today, and hear them out,
I know.
But it's so cool.
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, so we got to meet in 2017 in downtown San Diego in good old Barrio Logan. We're talking the streets of SD, baby.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I won't say born and raised, but raised in Barrio Logan.
Yeah,
most of my life. So yes, yeah. We met there at Center Church. So shout out to Center Church.
Go Center Church. We love you guys.
And
because I know you'll be watching for sure.
Pastor Pete here was leading worship there.
Yeah,
we met there, and it was so awesome. And we linked up, and here we are now.
Yeah,
years later.
Yeah, and so I've always appreciated and loved your family, and I love that. Getting to see you kind of come into your own now over these past couple of years, and really kind of, seeing what you're grabbing hold on to, and also like it's yours now, but you and your family, Alex, Barbara, shout out to Barbara. I love you. Had to make sure I did that or else she'd come after me. Cause everything for your family, Barbara is the hub.
Yes.
Yes,
she is.
Yep.
That's
the good.
Yeah. And if nobody has recognized that until now you know, and you've been put on notice. So, but I've always appreciated you guys because one, just your heart, the heart that really makes up your guys' family and how you love people and put others first, and just how you guys go out and really make it a priority, and not even just a priority, but you're really intentional and just in how you love and recognize people. And so you guys were truly a gift to our family when we first moved all the way across the U.S. To good old San Diego. And so forever grateful for you guys. And I love that we're still connected even to this day, which is so cool. And I'm excited, for this episode. I'm excited that you guys could come up. We can talk some shop, talk some dreams, some business stuff, and different things, because you guys have got some of your own ventures. But before we actually get into it, I'm going to go ahead and let Jaiden rock this out.
I forgot. Okay, so I have a hypothetical, right?
Okay.
Every single time. You guys know this. You know this. Yes. So, I did not prepare one today, so I'll just come up with one right now.
I don't know if you're gonna cut this part out, but I just want to thank you guys. I just want to thank you guys for inviting us and having us here. And I just wanted to thank you guys for having us on the podcast.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here. Honestly, I think even just like starting we kind of like started venturing into this, and like it's been a blessing to have you guys like there helping us out with that and like going into that. So I know you like are and him, like you guys are busy, kind of doing your guys' thing and everything. So taking the time to have us on your podcast and just be here and talk everything, whatever it is. Whatever that looks like.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for giving me time to stall. I found one of mine.
Okay,
but I really appreciate having you guys on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's good. No, we love you.
Yeah. No, thank you for coming on. That actually really means a lot. But my hypothetical for today is, you can both answer this. What would you do if you woke up one day and everyone acted like they never met you, and like that basically you never existed? But like people will still like be able to see you and talk to you, and you still know the same people, but they don't recognize you. They don't know you. What are you doing? Like the first thing that you're doing, what are you doing in that situation? Because you know who you are, but other people don't.
Oh, I'll let you answer that first.
I was going to say, I'll let you answer that first.
I beat you to it.
But what would I do? Wow.
Yeah. Nobody knows who you are.
Nobody knows who I am. So if I woke up and my wife didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing here?
She'd be like, get out.
Yeah. I don't know what I would do. I mean, I think I would probably, and I knew who they were.
Yeah, you know who they are.
Like I knew she was my wife.
Yeah.
But she doesn't know that I'm her husband.
Mm-hmm.
My gosh, I think I would go crazy probably.
That'd almost be like 50 first dates.
Yeah, like I would have to like just fall in, make her fall in love every day with me. It's like, I mean, but I don't know what I would do. I mean, like it'll be. I think it'll be so hard to not be recognized. Who you are.
It's such a big thing in our society. It's like you have to be recognized. Yeah. Because if you're not, then it kind of just throws off your entire your entire day. Yeah.
I think it's almost like I almost want to say like it almost puts an identity in who you are.
Yeah.
Because without them recognizing you, and even though I know where my identity comes from, but I think being in that situation, it's like, am I like who am I right now? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, am I a husband? It's almost like that identity is gone because now you're not being recognized as a husband, or you're not being recognized as a father, or you're not being recognized as a son, So, but I don't know what I would do. I think I would probably go crazy. I mean, I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. For me, the reason I was smiling so much is like all I could think of is just being like kind of a jerk and messing with them and just being like,
oh my god,
like saying like a bunch of stuff that they have, like I know them but they don't know me.
So like Inception or Source Code, where it's like, I'm gonna tell you everything about yourself.
Like I'll be like, I got superpowers. I'm famous. I know who you are. You don't know me, but I know you. And then just start telling them a bunch of secrets or things that they've told me that I know about them, and just like messing with their heads.
That's messed up.
But what if it kept going for like days and days?
It's infinite. Like,
you know what I mean?
The entire scenario is you wake up and you live your normal life, but no one recognizes you. Like no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like the newest Spider. Yeah. Sorry for spoilers. It's been out for 5 years now. You should have seen it.
You should have seen it. Maybe 2 or 3 times.
But the thing is, like, Doctor Strange erases Peter Parker from everybody's memory, and now it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
No, they don't know me anymore. So, like, that's the kind of situation.
Yeah.
And he kind of loses his identity, and I feel like that's a big
thing.
It's a big thing. It's like you lose your identity, then you lose everything that you've worked for.
Yeah.
But you also kind of get a new start.
Yeah. Because it's like I think you can have fun with it
so
right?
much.
Being a jerk so much.
Yeah.
But then after
I honestly, I just love that that's where he went.
Like,
I'm like, Alex is
you
like,
got
I'm
on
gonna
a
go into like a state of depression. I'm gonna like be kind of like, dude, I'm gonna have to sit in it because that's hard. Like, no one knows. And then Unique's over here is like, all right, what fun
I'm
do
just
I
like
have?
superpowers.
He's over there. Yeah,
got
he's over there.
superpowers, yeah.
He's just like on a super deep state of thinking, and I'm just over here like smiling because I'm like, man, I think I would mess with people.
My
Like,
superpower is you won't remember who I am.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
that's good.
I think I would just mess with people. So,
Dude.
but yeah, it's true. I feel like it like on a deeper level. I feel like that would like it would mess with me over time. Like
Yeah.
you know, you would start to think like man, like no one recognizes me. Like who am I? You know, kind of in a sense like that. So it would be a trip.
Yeah.
It would definitely be a trip.
Definitely.
I definitely think it would be, I mean, I could probably see it. Yeah. I would probably, for my own life, I would probably want to play around, have some fun for a little bit. Because, I mean, especially as a dad, like, oh, heck yeah, I'm going to jack with my kids for a little bit. Like, just mess them all up, you know, and do
And
something.
that'd freak out Blakely so much.
You know, be like, hey, have you listened to yourself talk? Do you know where that voice came from? That's me, boy. Like, you're my son. What? Yeah.
I am your father.
I am your father.
Yeah.
What would you do? I mean,
What would I do?
I know you'll.
At first I'd like freak out and I'm like, okay, what the heck just happened? I'm like, everybody knew me yesterday. Now what happened? And then I'd start messing with people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd also like, I don't know, I'd have like a new identity, I guess. I could kind of like do things or like restart on some things. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that would be the
That'd
once
be-
the reality finally set in, and it's like, all right, you really get a second chance in a lot of ways to kind of do things over a little bit or to start new. And so, I mean, not to go deep or anything, but the reality is all of us, like, we want to be known.
Yeah.
There's something really, I think it's just part of it's how we're wired, how we were created to be known, to be seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think, right, I mean, if you think about all of our lives and each of our stories of how we've all grown up, there's been a lot in this whole journey of even just for me to finally be coming to the realization and understanding of who I actually am.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And also, I think it kind of, like, as we're sitting in talking about identity and want to be seen, for me, I don't know, I think God has given me like a spirit of discernment. Like when you see people and like you can almost feel that person, like sometimes like they're not seen, you know what I mean? And it makes you be sensitive towards those people, you know, like you know, like you want to let them know that they're seen, and you know, and that you see them, you know what I mean? So yeah.
And I think our human heart, for people in general, when you get down to the deepest part of it, they want to be seen, and they just want to be known. But then there's something that comes with that of just also being loved no matter what. You know, even in the midst of all of the blemishes, even in the midst of the weaknesses, shortcomings, failures, just to be loved anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's something special about that.
Yeah. Definitely.
And why do you think like we desire to be known so much? Like I think I know why. It's because that's just kind of how humans are wired. It's like we're wired to be known, but why do you think it's so important to be known and to have that feeling that you're known? It's like, is it to not feel alone, or is it to like have a status in society, or like why? Why do you think that is?
I think a big part of it has to do with you know what, I mean, if you don't know really who you are, I think it has to do with like a value, you know, the value that you bring as a person, whether that's in relationships, whether it's in your work, in your job, in your career, whether that's in your family, friends. I think that's a big part of it, is like the reason it's so important is because it kind of, it's a scale of like, you know, who you are as a person, you know, what your values are, what you stand for. And if you don't have that for yourself, then, you know, like the question becomes like, what are you bringing, you know? And I think, as like, kind of like as short as it sounds and like as like transactional as it sounds, I think as humans, I think that's how we are. You know, we're transactional humans. You know, there's a saying that the 5 people you put yourself around, right,
the 5 people you're most alike.
Is who you're gonna become. You know, you're gonna become those people. And I think it's because like it's a transactional thing. And so, you know, it's like your identity is just like, that's who you are, you know?
Yeah.
It's who you are. So it's important for your value, for what you bring to the table, but also, you know, the way other people see you, perceive you.
Yeah. I think, why is it that I'm sorry, I'm getting old, but I remember kind of like the question, and I forget a lot of stuff already. But the question was, why do we think, or why do we feel that we got to be acknowledged or known or seen? And we said because God, we were designed in that way.
We're wired that
way.
way.
We're wired in that way. And I think it goes back down to what he's saying. I think we want purpose. We want a certain value, you know, and I feel it's just a feeling, right? I feel that if we're not seen, if we're not acknowledged, I feel like it almost feels like, what's our purpose? Was our purpose here? Like, you know, even though there's a purpose, but I think it'll be harder for us to see the purpose. It's almost like, it's kind of like you're almost dead, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're almost dead if you don't.
Like dead man walking.
Yeah, like a dead man walking, you know? It's like if nobody acknowledges it, nobody recognizes you. It's like dead man walking. There's no purpose. So it's kind of like, well, you know, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's important for us to be acknowledged or seen to be able to live life. And I think that's why a lot of people commit suicide. You know, because they're not seen, they're not loved or whatever. And so I feel like people probably feel that, you know, what's their purpose here? You know, not being acknowledged.
Well, I think it's, as human beings, as creatures in existence, it's good for us to, you know, to have tasks, especially as guys.
Yeah.
Like we like to have tasks. We like to have things to do, to have a mission. In some circles, they say, you know, especially for people who are driven or you're trying to find purpose or meaning in life, you need to have a hunt. Like you need to have something that you're hunting for, that you're doing, that you're trying to accomplish. Which we can all do that. And especially as guys, sometimes it's very easy to kind of like, you know, with tunnel vision, and you get stuck and you just go through the motions and you're doing all these different things. But when you slow down or you step backwards a little bit and you take another second glance or another look, there's something magnificent that happens when you're actually living your life, doing the why, pursuing the hunt, whatever it might be, but then you have community and you have people, because it's through relational interaction. Even if you may be an introvert and not like an extrovert like me or something like that, but you're an introvert. Yeah, but but even being an introvert, when you have at least even one or two, somebody that you can talk to, what happens? That's where I feel like it's that iron sharpens iron. There's sparks that happen as far as refinement happens. Clarity is seen, like understood. And now you begin to get a better understanding as far as, this is how I want to navigate my life. This is how I want to carry myself. This is what I want to talk about. Ooh, I actually value this more because it's just happening through the relational circle of life. When you actually step out to include people.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely. I think the same thing, like, you know, as far like you you said something like having the community around you, you know, which is kind of funny because I feel like that word's kind of been thrown around these last few days, but like I just talked about that, you know, with a friend of mine, like how important is it for, you know, young men to have a community around them. But I think it applies to everyone, you know, like not just young men, but just like anyone, like, you know, women, older, younger, men, older, younger, that it's important to have a community around you. You know, I think that's like, for me, I feel like God created us to help each other out, you know, to all be, you know, with each other. So yeah, I like that. What you said.
I think it's the community, and then it's also taking it a step further, right? When you meet new people or you come into contact with different circles or different arenas of individuals, I know for me there is a internal battle of, all right, who am I going to present myself as today?
Yeah.
Am I going to come in as wearing a performance hat? Am I trying to impress? Or am I actually going to live my life or show myself in a way that, you know, that it's not a performance, but now I'm actually just walking it out, just who I am, without trying to impress anybody, without having to feel like I got to give my best foot forward, or I can be have a down day, you know, all that different type of stuff. I mean, what does that look like for you guys? Like, what do you think about that?
I think for me, it's just being who I am. I'm a very introvert person. Like it's hard for me to be like on a camera, and I've always been on the other side of the camera, you know. And I think trying to be genuine and organic is like probably like the best way. I don't know if I'm more, I guess that depends where I'm at, you know. Sometimes at work, I'm trying to impress sometimes, you know, with my work, trying to get the best, you know, but at the same time, I try to be who I am too, you know. So it's kind of like, I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I think for me, I think growing up, like a lot of my life was like wanting to impress, or like wanting to feel like I had it all together. Like even growing up in high school, like I went to a public high school, and you know, none of my friends like were believers or anything like that. So all my friends that I grew up around, you know, they lived a very like worldly life. And that's just, you know, where they were in life, you know, which is totally okay. But as I grew up, like I wanted to impress my friends, not necessarily because I wanted them to think I was like cool, but more so like I just wanted to be accepted by the people around me. But I think as I've entered my like young adult, you know, stage of life, I think like I've realized that for me, like, dude, I'm so much happier when I'm just like myself, you know, like there's so much joy in just being myself and having like that piece of like, you know what, there's no one I have to impress, you know, like if I'm accepted by some people, then great. Those are the people I actually want to be around. And if I'm denied by some people, then great. You know, those people, you know, they're just maybe not forever, maybe not for my whole life, but maybe in this stage of my life, they're just not the people that need to be in my life, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of feel about it, you know?
I think if more people looked at it that way, instead of like looking at, I have to be loved by everyone. Sorry. I feel like if people like looked at it more like that, instead of kind of like how media and putting it and society's putting it, is like, oh, you got to be accepted by everyone. You have to be liked by everyone. Yeah. I feel like if people just would find their group and then not like stick with their group, but then also just like not try to change themselves to fit in with others.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really important to just be yourself and to find people that accept you, because if you don't find people that accept you and you change yourself, you're going to learn how to hate yourself.
Yeah.
And then hating yourself leads to you hating others, and then that just leads to you just not having a fun life whatsoever. Because once you start to hate yourself, it makes it really, really easy to hate others. And I really like what you said about about just like being yourself, and maybe you're not in the season where those people need to be around you yet. I really like that. I feel like it's all about the season that you're in and the people that you hang around, and the people that you call your family, or the people that you let in your circle.
I was gonna just say real quick, I'm actually enjoying like this season of my life as a parent, because like to hear them talk the way they're talking, it's like God uses them. I mean, I know right now he's using Unique to speak into my life. He has so much wisdom. And when he talks, it like encourages me. And it's a good thing, you know, it's a good thing. Cause I mean, I know as a parent, there was times where it was like ups and downs with our kids. There's a lot of cuts and bruises along the way, but just to
how
see.
dare you, Unique? This guy,
But
I dragged him through the mud, guys. I'm sorry.
I was like cuts and bruises. It wasn't this. No.
But you know what? It was all worth it. It was all worth it. You know what I mean? It was all worth it, because just to see our kids talk the way they talk and at least encourage me and answer the way he answered right now, it was like, wow, that's good. And it's so true what you say. If people would look at it, I'm like, man, that needs to be me. That needs to be me, you know? So yeah, that's good.
And I would even think, to piggyback of what all you guys are saying, though, is it's understanding that we want to be seen, right? I would almost look at it this way, as the word visibility. There's a big difference with being visible and being present in a situation or in a circles or in a gathering of sort. But then moving past visibility, like how do you then actually really become seen, but even taken further to be known? So being known it's going past the visible and actually being vulnerable. So we all need a community. But if we haven't if we haven't grabbed onto the security to allow ourselves now to be vulnerable, it's always just going to be, oh yeah, they're present, they're visible, but no one will ever actually truly know you until you actually take a step out beyond yourself. And say, all right, here's my cuts, here's my weaknesses, here's my and you start sharing it, and you're okay with it. You know, because I think that's the power then of being in a community. And when you really are known, is because they love you and understand you, even with all of the crap, even with all of the selfishness, even with all of the you know, just the lack of understanding and knowing what to do sometimes. But people, because they just want to be with you, but because they really know you, because you've opened yourself up. But it's hard.
It is hard.
It is hard. I think that's one of the stages I'm also in right now with starting this whole podcast back in San Diego. Just opening up, you know, getting in front of those cameras and just being transparent with things that I struggle with, you know, on camera. You know, and just being open. But the fruit that I've seen in the last two episodes that we've done, it's been amazing. I mean, it's blown my mind. It's not what I expected it to be, you know, and it's been causing me to actually draw closer to God, you know, drawing closer to God, seek God more. One of the things that Barbara asked me at the beginning of the year was if there's one thing you can change in 2025, what would it be? And honestly, I didn't know. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, just think about your day. From the day you open, from the time you open your eyes to the end of your day. And so I started going through my day. And as soon as I opened my eye, I already found something. I was like, okay. I open up my eyes, I throw on my pants, I throw on my shirt, and boom, off I go to work. I don't pause. I don't stop. I don't seek God throughout my day. And I'm like, that's what I need to do. I need to stop, and I need to start seeking God in my day, throughout my day. And believe it or not, just being vulnerable and speaking in front of the cameras is it's allowing me to do that right now. It's allowing me to do that. So it's been good.
Yeah. I think for me it's like, I've dealt with moments in my life where I feel like I've been around the same group of people for a really long time. I grew up in church, so like I kind of learned how to like speak a certain way and like
you know how to perform.
Yeah, exactly. I knew how to perform, like I knew how to say the right church sayings, act like everything was okay. Like you said, like putting that mask on. But I think as I got older and as new trials and like tribulations kind of came, I started to just learn from everything. Thankfully, like God has placed, like I've been so blessed that God has placed men in my life that are really spiritually grounded, one of those people being like my dad. But I mean, there's been other people. When I was out in Phoenix for 2 years, there was a guy named Dustin who was pretty much he led a young men's group. And so he helped me a lot with my faith out there. I was very kind of far from my faith. And so that helped me a lot. And like, even like Pastor Josh and, Mike Tabier is another person. Like there's just been people that God has placed in my life over and over and over again that have always guided me back, to where I should be facing, which was like facing God, And so through those people, I have learned to be more vulnerable to, one thing my dad always told me, and it literally sticks to me to this day. Like, when I remember when I was like 15 or 14 years old, and I dealt with like depression and, kind of went through that throughout high school. And one thing my dad told me, he said, like, it's okay to be where you are right now, but it's not okay to like stay there forever. You got to pick yourself back up and you got to keep going. And he's like, and know that it takes more of a man to be vulnerable than it does for a man to put up his ego or his pride. Any man can put up their ego and their pride, but it takes more of a man to be able to let down that guard and put aside your pride and be like, you know what? Like, I'm not okay. I need help right now in this moment. So that's something that just always stuck with me. And it allowed me to, like, when I did need help, seek that help, and I think a lot of people struggle with that nowadays, especially with social media and like everything. People try to compare themselves, and it's like comparison is the thief of joy. It just sucks out all the joy in your life. Like, oh, this person has the better car, the better house, the better this. And so for me, it's just allowing myself to be more vulnerable has allowed me to grow in my life more, in every aspect of my life. So
I think I think it's really important to be vulnerable. And like, I also grew up in the church, and like, you always, like, it's the thing, like, you kind of have to put on a mask as a pastor's kid sometimes. Like, it kind of sucks to say, but it's true. Like, I had to put on a mask sometimes. Like, whenever I was not feeling the best, or whenever I was like, man, I don't really want to be at church today.
Yeah.
I still had to like smile and tell everyone like, yeah, no, I'm doing great. But then like, really, I was just like, I don't really. Yeah. I'm like, why am I kind of faking how I'm feeling?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the thing about being visible, and whenever you want to be visible, you want to look your best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you desire to look your best whenever you want to be visible. So like, I've had to learn how to like, kind of like, it's like, okay, well, I need to work on this, and I'm not like fully okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's some things that I need to work on, and I've addressed those things, and I've gotten back on track, and I've done all this stuff. And then I feel like it's really important to be vulnerable, and also to just look at what you're hiding from other people and also from yourself.
Yeah.
Because whatever you're hiding from other people, you're most likely starting to hide from yourself. And then you're not even going to notice it until it's too late.
Yeah.
Right? Because it gets really, really difficult to break a habit or to break to yourself the truth if you've hid it from yourself, and if you've kind of like closed it off from yourself for a long time. Yeah.
And I think also it's, at least for me, like as a parent to our kids, I think it's important that we remind our kids, especially when they're grown in church, I think, because I know my past history, you know, growing up in Logan and being involved with gangs and stuff like that, right? It gives me a testimony of what God's done in my life, right? Like how he took me out of here. But then for our kids, it's kind of, well, I grew up in church. I don't really have a testimony. I've been a good kid and all that. But in reality, it's just reassuring them, like, you still have a testimony. You still have, being able to stay away from drugs while going to high school, that's a testimony alone. How many kids are struggling with addiction in high school? And to be able to stay out of that alone is a testimony. Or abstaining from having sex, you know, while being in high school, right? Because you're cool if you're the one having sex with everybody, or you're cool if you're kind of like the outcast if you're not doing drugs, if you're not, you know. And so I think reassuring our kids to say, hey, if you've been the one that's abstaining from sex, you've been the one that hasn't done drugs, you're the one, like, you have a testimony to influence those kids.
Yeah.
That alone is a testimony in itself, you know.
I was gonna say, Alex, I think you hit something, and I don't know, maybe the younger guys can help a little bit, but I know from my upbringing, growing up in the church in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was some legalistic type things, you know, and there was also sometimes some guilt type, shame type things that were communicated to where I felt less than because I didn't have this story, or I felt less than because, long story short, I had my own rebellion times. I've been in juvie before, and all this different stuff. But yet, in some of those ways, I wrestled with that too, where people would communicate this idea or communicate this thing, and then people would feel less than because they didn't have that same particular identifier or that label.
Yes.
But I think now, especially with where we're at in 2025, and this is where I want you guys to chime in, I actually think we're getting back to the root of things again.
Yeah.
As far as not associating labels of life experiences or different things like that, but helping people understand that, yes, that was a part of your journey.
Yeah.
Just like I have my own things that happened in my life that were part of my journey. But when I look at the scriptures, it talks about the root of evil. It talks about the sin, the different things. And what are those? Those are characteristics. Those are values. Those are mindsets and things that I choose out of selfishness. So in reality, when we look at all of us as human beings on an even level, on a playing field, we've all wrestled with greed. We've all wrestled with selfishness.
Yes.
We've all wrestled with lust. We've all wrestled with all these. And now let's focus on those roots. I don't care if, you didn't do a pornography this, or you weren't stealing this or lying, or it's like, let's get to the roots and then figure out how as individuals we can help each other uproot all of those weeds, all of that crap that's trying to take a hold of our life and actually start moving forward and progressing in freedom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we don't have to live with those, you know. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, that's kind of where I feel the shift is happening, and it pleases my heart.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I have definitely seen a change in things. I mean, like, growing up, like, you and Mom always did a great job with telling me, like, hey, you can come and talk to us about stuff, and I do, and I have. And I feel like I've definitely seen a change in just kids my age, like, in general. Like, people are a lot more open about their struggles. Like, not in, like, a way where it's like, oh my gosh, let me trauma dump and, like, say all the things that I'm like just getting rid of right now. But it's kind of like a way where you may not say it out loud, but, like, someone can say, like, hey, thanks for saying something like that, especially in, like, the Christian circle or, like, the believer circle. It's your testimony is just as important as the guy that did drugs, was in a gang, and then went to juvie for like 4 years.
Yep.
It's not about like your testimony and how you grew up. It's about what you did after you got put into that situation. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
And it's about if you accepted what you did was wrong, and then if you like said, God, I'm ready to walk with you now.
Yeah.
In a lot of those situations, because you have people that compare their testimony to someone else's and they're like, oh man, mine's not as crazy as that. But it's like, well, you were raised in this household, they were raised in this kind of household, and you have a different story. You can use your story will help a certain amount of people. That guy's story might not help this group.
Yes.
And your story might not help that group.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your story will always help someone.
Yes.
No matter what it is.
Yes.
It's always going to help someone.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a super important thing that we need to look at.
Yes. I love that. The stories. We all have a story.
We all have a story.
We all have a story. I heard Greg Laurie one time share it was I think it was a devotional or something. It was so long ago, but I grew up listening to Greg Laurie. He was talking about in the cemetery. There's these gravestones, right? And there's a day they're born and a day they pass, but in the middle there's a dash, and every dash in the cemetery represents a story. And right now we're living in that dash. We're in that dash, right? But how many stories are in that dash of all those people out there, and they probably never told their story. And I think stories are very important for us to share and to tell, because it helps people. You know, it helps. God designed us all different and all unique, and what I've been through is my story to be able to share with other people, because it's going to help those people, right? And so it's very important. I like what you said, that word story. I love that word. You know, we all have so much to say.
Yeah. I think I love what you said. Like, every testimony is gonna affect a certain like group of people. You know, like,
or just a certain person.
Just like a certain person. And so that's kind of like where I always came from when I have shared my testimony, is like, man, even if it talks to just one person, you know, just one, like, I don't need to impact hundreds of thousands of people, you know, but if it just impacts one person, like, it made it all the worthwhile, because what does the Bible say, right? For one person who turns to God, right, all of heaven rejoices, all of heaven. So I think that should be an encouragement for, you know, anyone who maybe is in that like stage of their life where they're like trying to think, you know, should I share my testimony? Is my testimony good enough? Dude, share your testimony, you know, like, because it's like, it just needs to impact one person, you know? Maybe I won't be the person to impact hundreds of thousands, but maybe that one person I do impact, maybe they're the person to go out and impact hundreds of thousands, you know? Yeah. And so,
seeds. You're planting seeds. That's what it
exactly.
is. Yeah,
that's right.
And so, I love that you like kind of shared that, you know, like some testimonies, they might impact a certain group of people. Other testimonies might impact another group of people, but it just takes that one person, you know? Yeah.
And just reassuring people that they do have a story.
Yeah.
They do have a story. even when they don't think they have one. It's like you have a story.
Yeah.
You know?
And the reality of it for a lot of us, if we don't recognize it or not, if we just take that step to share the story without an expectation or thinking, well, this is the feedback or this is the return that I'm supposed to get or this is what should happen because I shared it. The reality of it is this, is when we're vulnerable enough to just start talking and to start opening up, that story, like, we can never really fully understand how that story hits on the hearts of people, how it penetrates the ears of those who listen. But I guarantee you, when I've had my moments of being vulnerable and started talking things out, it blows me away at how much freedom or how much progress I actually make in my own life, because as I'm verbalizing these things and then someone else is now talking back and we're having a discussion or whatever, or I'm seeing people's reactions and their feedback to what I'm sharing, there's a healing that takes place in my own life. There's a new understanding and a greater revelation or a greater understanding of like, wow, I begin to see things differently, because I stepped out to be vulnerable.
Yes.
Because I stepped out to say, you know what? I don't just want to be seen anymore. I want to be known.
Yeah.
And so that idea of moving past being seen to being known means I have to understand that vulnerability is actually a superpower that God has given me.
Yeah.
And now when I start to tap into that more, there's an authenticity, there's real, recognize real type thing that happens, in the life of somebody, because I just stepped out. And it's like, because I can't fix my life. And so the more that I talk about it, the more that I open up, the more that I just become vulnerable and talk about the hills and the valleys, the struggles and the strengths. Like, dude, something amazing happens, and it's not in my control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh, no, that's really, really good.
I think that's like I love that you said like it's not in my control, because like I think a lot of times we want to be in control.
Heck yeah.
Like I feel like I know most people feel like that, like you want to be in control of everything, and so being able to like realize and be okay with like, you know what, like it's okay if I'm not in control, like it's okay if I don't have it all together, like, and I feel like most people, they feel like they have to have it all together right now, but the reality is like you really don't, and so one time when I was speaking to Pastor Josh one time, and he kind of talked to me about a verse, and it was, can't remember exactly where the verse is, but it said it's pretty much when the one who is faithful to start it is faithful to complete it. And like Pastor Josh kind of told me like your life story is not complete until the day you go back to, or until the day you're with God in heaven, like the rest, your whole life, like you're never really going to complete it. There's always going to be something else for you to go until that day you're with God again, And so, like for me, I felt like I always had to like complete my life in some way, like I had to meet some kind of like certain achievement to be like, oh yeah, like, I completed my life now. Yeah, my life is complete.
The video
like,
game of your life.
You got 100% unlocked.
100%,
like new medal,
like,
new medal achievement.
Like I completed it, But it's like, man, I when Josh told me that, I like realized like, dude, I'm never gonna complete this thing called life, until the day that I'm with my Lord again, And so, that was something that like kind of just stuck with me.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about that statement, life is what you make it. We're all not promised the same amount of days or the same amount of minutes or seconds or years, but it is what you make it.
Yeah.
And we may not be able to control the outcome or how certain things will happen, but you know what we can control? How we see things, and then how we respond to it.
Yeah.
And if we can live our lives knowing that those are the things that we can control. Like, I mean, as a dad, no matter how many times I would love to control my youngest kid from not having a temper tantrum or flipping out or getting overly emotional, you know, or different things like that. It's like, I don't have the power for that.
No.
But what I do have is how I perceive it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then how I respond.
Yes.
And I know Jade, and I try to do my best, but there are times with Jade, I'm like, yo, Dad messed up. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah. And that's the best thing to do.
Right?
That's the best.
Yeah.
Because that's the only control we have.
We have to be vulnerable with our kids too.
Yeah.
They got to know that we're humans too.
Oh.
And that we hurt and that we have feelings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, there's things that are not in our control. There was a time where he used to get depressed really bad in high school. He felt like there was a certain expectation and he was falling short from that expectation. And I wanted to fix him. I'm like, how do I take him out of this depression? Like, what do I do? And I know he loves soccer at that time so much. So what do? I go to the store, I buy a soccer ball, and I'm like, come on, let's go kick the ball. He doesn't want to get up. He doesn't want to play. And I'm trying to fix him. But you know what?
He's like, he's broken.
I realized
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. But because you think a soccer ball and kicking the ball with your kid's going to fix the depression out of them. And it's not. It's out of your control. But then, like what you said, it's what you do and how you see things. And I realized one thing. I realized that God was working something in him. That's his testimony. That's his story. Right? I didn't have to go through that. He had to go through that. Yeah. God worked it out. And he's where he's at now. But I'm thinking that's something that he's going to experience and share with other people now. And so God turned it around for the good. Yeah. God turned it around for the good. Yeah. You know, but in the meantime, as a dad, you're like, it's killing you inside because it's like, I want to fix it. It's outside of your control. We just got to learn to trust God, that it's in God's hands, you know.
And I know for Jaiden and I'll have, when we have rough moments or when we have opportunities for growth and different things, I'll try to help him, like, one, calm down. But then I just start asking these questions to help flip his perspective a little bit so that he can keep developing those eyes to, all right, what is it I'm perceiving?
Yeah.
What is it I'm feeling? What is it I'm thinking? Because if he's anything like me, I'm a heavy feeler and I love my emotions. They offer a great discernment and give me wisdom and how to act in certain moments. But if I'm not careful, I can also fly off the hinges and I'm a bull in a freaking china shop and I will wreck your life if I'm not careful. And so it's right, as a parent, like for me, I would say, like, the biggest thing that I could possibly do is I want to fix things for my kids, but the best thing that I could possibly do is to help them gain an understanding and help them to understand, okay, this is how I'm seeing it. This is how it's hitting me right now. Then how do I respond? How do I learn how to react better? How do I build up a response time and reflexes that actually lean more like Christ than the world?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I really like, you got to show your kids that you're human. I love that. But you also have to just show other people that you're human.
Yeah.
On Monday, I did a message about, like, the right way and the wrong way to preach the gospel, right? And I'm like, you don't enter in through it by yelling at someone that they're terrible and that they should just quit whatever they're trying to do and they're like a sinner. I mean, like, sure, at some points it may be true, but if you don't acknowledge that you're also at times in that place, then you're going to be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
Nobody likes a hypocrite. You always have to approach someone with love instead of, what's it called? Conviction, right? Or like condemnation. Yeah. You always have to approach someone with love instead of condemnation, because if you approach someone with condemnation, sure, they might listen to you for a little bit, but then after that, they're going to be like, you bring me down. I can't listen to you.
Yeah.
Because I've met adults that instead of telling me, here's how you could fix it, here's what you're doing wrong, and here's what I did whenever I was your age to fix the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, instead of like trying to work with me, they're just saying, here's what I did, and this is going to work for you.
Mm.
Even if you have tried and it hasn't worked, you're not doing it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's super important that you walk with someone
Yeah.
if you want to fix them, which is what I think parents do and what you guys have done.
Mm.
It's like, you may not be able to fix everything,
Mm-hmm.
but you can walk with us to see how you can help.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great thing that my dad's done,
Mhm.
your dad's done. And
Yeah.
it's just a way to live life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also understanding as our kids get older, that, you know, we always, as a parent, I think we always want to hold this authority over our kids. Like, hey, I'm the dad, you're the child. You know what I mean? And that's I believe that's a wrong way to see it, especially as they get older, because they're their own person. You know, and I think I'm coming to a point in my life as parenting where I'm trying to transition from being like that kind of dad to being more like a friend to them. You know, a mentor, someone like that in their lives. You know, because the reality is that they're gonna be like, "Hey, Dad, you know what? I'm married already. I make my own decisions." And at that point, I'm like, "Well, let me just be your friend. Let me just be here for you for whatever it is that you need, and know that they have their own lives too. They have their own dreams, their own desires, their own thing, and kind of accept that as a parent as they grow up."
So I guess the question I'd have is to like any like young parents then is, do you start off I don't think you would start off the relationship like with your kids like, oh, you know, hey, I'm your friend. Like,
Yeah.
like you have to show some sort of.
Yeah, no, I think we start as caring and nurturing our kids to like, you know, becoming these parents of like, they become like toddlers. Hey, don't do that. And then it becomes to like this place of like authority. Hey, I'm the dad. You got to listen, because if you don't listen to mom and dad, I heard this, what happens? Bad things happen, right? And so but then it's kind of like, you know, that's the saying that a brother of mine, Neil, used to say that a lot, right? But then I think we get stuck in that as parents. You know, we don't grow out of that mind of like, okay, I'm no longer can be this authority in their lives. It has to be God, their authority in their lives. I'm just a friend to them, and I'm still mom and dad to them, right? I'm never going to stop being mom and dad to my kids, but I think it's just acknowledging them as human beings, and not just like dad that got stuck on this, you know, authority trip over our kids. It's like, no, like I think there's stages in life as parenting.
I think if you look at it more along the lines as a parent, it's not a positional thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a construct.
Mm-hmm.
It's a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can help my kids learn what it means, okay, yes, I'm dad, and yeah, for a time and a season, mom and I are the authority.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
And that's the misconception, right? Sometimes we think, well, authority, gosh, dang it, freaking authority. Like you're using it. It's like an oppression. You're all you're doing is weighing me down. All you're doing is this, and you're keeping me and da-da-da, when in reality, a lot of it's more for protection.
Yeah.
And also some of it's also just because the timing's not right yet,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so I look at it as this way. If you live, if I can live my life and model it in such a way that it's not a positional thing.
Yes.
It's a construct. It's a value, which means, guess what? You're going to see our relationship, and we're going to love each other, and there's going to be a mutual love, honor, and respect.
Mm-hmm.
And that as you get older, because in a lot of ways, there are certain privileges like that I give my son because I can trust him. Yeah. Because we've worked through some of those things, and I would open hand to say, you know what, like I know that if something were to happen, he'd come and talk. Mm-hmm. But then the reality is too, is that then as he gets older, now I get to observe and I get to be the fan to cheer, because now I'm seeing him in his game of life.
Exactly.
But I guarantee, and I've seen this because I grew up without a dad, so like I always watch these types of things, like you know, because I in my life I had a lot of insecurities, and I was like, Lord, help me to be the best that I could possibly be, that you see of me, so that I can pour it into my kids. But I guarantee you, bro, as they get older, yeah, we're a friend, but you know how you've got friends, and then you've got friends, and what sets them apart is the weight.
Yeah.
The weight of love.
Yeah.
The weight of what's being said, like, oh, because my dad said that. There might be some things that buck up a little bit, but because he said it, I'm actually going to take some time and think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of what we've gone through.
Yes.
Right? Because of the vulnerable moments.
Yes.
Not because of the position of,
yes.
Well, hey, when you were little, I used to wipe your tail. Like,
yeah.
You know, all those different things. But it's like, no, we've gone through a whole lot. And I want to see you win. And I want to see you live life.
Yes. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's really good.
That's really good. I love that. I agree.
I think it's.
What about you guys?
Yeah. I mean, I can't really speak too much on topic of parenting.
Yeah, neither can I.
You better not know.
So,
but
as kids, you
Yeah.
guys are like, yeah, I'm gonna give Dad a hard time today.
Oh no, it's great. No, that's my entire reason I'm here. Is
Yeah.
to give my parents a hard time
that's-
He
sometimes.
calls me
That's-
old.
yeah, that's the only reason. That didn't ask for food.
And money.
I mean, here's the
sometimes.
thing, like, so in ours, and people in our pod, they know right now the position, I'm the life giver.
I'm the offspring, yeah.
And that's how we tell all our kids. I'm like, we're the life givers. You're the offspring. You know, we joke about it, but it's you know, it's funny.
It's cool. Yeah.
But
That's
cool.
funny.
yeah. Dude,
Yeah.
so I mean, this has been fun. I love chatting like this, and it's been cool to have this conversation. I love having you guys on here, and I know it's been a gift for me as a dad to be able to do something like this with my son.
Yeah.
So I'm super pumped for you guys doing this
Yeah.
together.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
Unique, you want to tell everybody like what do you guys got? Or
Yeah.
what are you doing? Where can they find you? Because we want to support.
Yeah, so we just started our podcast, me and my dad, and it's called The Middleman Show. So you can actually find it's called The Middleman Show, and it's on Rumble. And then we are also on Instagram, and our Instagram handle is the same thing, Middleman Show.
The Instagram is Coastal Cast. That's for the studio.
Yes,
But
Coastal
we-
Cast, actually.
All right,
we
so,
do-
so you got your podcast called
Yes.
The Middleman.
The Middleman.
The Middleman Show.
And that's with you guys.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's with us too. And we talk about faith for the most part. We have different special guests on and stuff like that. And then I have my own podcast that I'm starting, which the first episode is actually going to be coming out very soon. And that's called Unique Faith Podcast. So that would just be by myself, but it's going to be
How we spell
more-
that, bro? Because you're gonna trick people if you don't
Oh,
clarify this
yeah.
right now.
Yeah,
And you'll
yeah.
trick us because I'll probably forget. Wait,
Yeah.
oh no, I need to spell it this way.
Yeah, so it's a Unique Faith Podcast, and it's actually it's spelled like the word. So UNIQUE and then Faith Podcast. And that will be on YouTube, but it'll also be on Rumble as well. So I'm excited for that. First episode is coming soon.
Dude,
So
can't
that'll
wait.
be-
Can't
yeah.
wait to be a part and to hear that, man.
Yeah.
Now, Alex, so you guys have got doing your pod, but part of the reason of you're doing your pod is because you got a space now to
Yes.
do it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you guys are here on our digs,
Yes.
and I know we're gonna head down to SD because we want to come check it out, come
Yeah.
hit you up in your area. But
Yes.
tell us, so what you have going on for you?
So pretty much, yes, we started a podcast called The Middleman, like Unique said, and it's a man faith podcast where we have different men come in and kind of share their story, and it's true. You can find us on Rumble and also on X. It's The Middleman Show SD. You can find us on X, so we're on X and Rumble, and we do have a space. And
Yeah, tell us about the space, man. What is it called?
And it's called Coastal Cast, and it's down in Barrio Logan, and it's a small little space, but it's it's pretty cool setup.
Heck yeah, dude,
it's
I
a pretty
like
cool
it.
setup.
Yeah.
You know, it's a place where people can come and just, you know, if they want to do some podcast recordings or any audio recording, you know, it's a space for them to come and do that.
And so you guys kind of like this, people can come in, they can have their own podcast with video.
With video,
Right.
with
video.
video. We have cameras set up. We got audio set up. We have everything set up
Yeah.
there. All they got to do is just kind of show up.
So what's the website? Then they can check that out. We'll put that under.
Yeah.
It's Coastal Cast.
Coastal Cast Studios.
Yes, coastalcaststudios.com.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Fire.
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Love
Cool.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, thank you guys for having
Yeah.
us on.
No, thanks
Yeah.
for
We're gonna have to do
joining
this
us
again, but next time we're
We
gonna
will.
go down. We'll go down to SD, and then we'll do a collaboration.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm down
Yeah.
for this one being a collab. We'll
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you guys
We'll
can
launch it.
This is
we'll
awesome.
do ours, and then you guys can put it on middle, man.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We can
thanks.
rock it
Thanks for having us, and I enjoyed it. Thanks, Pete, for everything you do. You know,
Yeah, dude.
For you and your family. We love you guys a lot, and I appreciate everything, all the help you've given us.
Heck yeah.
You know, and mentoring and everything. So
Love it.
it's awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for joining us, guys. It's really fun. All right, this is the Purpose Department signing off. Have a great day and God bless.